I remember the first time I saw Prince was at the 2007 Super Bowl. At that age, I knew his songs, but I didn't know him. Back then, all I knew was whatever my mom put on the radio. And SpongeBob. It took me up to his death in 2016 to really see his impact on music. He was around in a time where him, along with Michael Jackson, were the only two black artists to be featured on MTV. And they had to fight for it. And that was a really big deal. And actually, I didn't even know MTV had music videos back then. I'm sure you heard these claps before in his music.
Give me the beat, y'all. Give me the beat.
He was one of the first guys to do it. He owned a Linn drum machine, which was pretty rare at the time. It wasn't available to everyone. And he popularized it with a double album I can never get enough of. About 2 years ago, I dove into Prince for the first time. That meant starting from 1978 to the end. And I'm still not done. Prince has made so much music that it is insanely difficult to catch up with all of his work because he's made so much. But what really made me think about Prince is that from like 78 to 87, he never made like a bad album. They were all good, and that really made me a fan. But all that aside, there was one step I had to take to be familiar with Prince. Purple Rain. The film. I've seen this poster everywhere, and I'm sure you have, and always knew the very basics about the movie. It was a film, it was an album, and it was huge. Recently I bought the Blu-ray to this, and I watched it with my mother, which was funny and uncomfortable and highly recommended. Some parts were intentionally funny and some were not intentional. This movie hasn't aged well in some parts, but it's not unwatchable. It's just hilarious to see what they got away with at the time. Like the sex scene with Apollonia. I say sex because they don't do anything revealing. They just kind of rub and kiss each other. Kind of like those couples in high school that let the whole student body know that we're together, guys. See, we're kissing. But the one part she is naked is when Prince tricks her into going into Lake Minnetonka. And that's why I love this movie. It lets you know that you're here to have a laugh, here to have a good time. Nothing too serious or dramatic. I mean, look at the motorcycle. Look at the clothes. Prince is kind of, saying he's Mozart. See what he's doing there? They kept Prince's lines minimal, which I think was a smart move. Prince says a lot with his eyes and facial expressions. It feels more natural for when he does talk, because when he does talk, he has something to say. However, really every scene with Apollonia is hilarious, and it's not that kind of hilarious. You know exactly why they casted her, but she cannot act at all.
Will you help me?
Nope.
Pardon me?
Do I smell some Oscar buzz, ladies and gentlemen? The funniest parts intentionally have to be with Morris Day. Ridiculous one-liners that could only come from him. If you get a chance to listen to the time, you'll know exactly what I mean. He's this egotistical, cartoony pimp that only wants money. But I mean, he does kind of get lonely sometimes. The thing I really admire about the movie is that this is the first time most people saw Prince and Morris Day in action. Before, all they had were the album covers and their music, and maybe you went to the concert. But now you heard them talk in their normal voice, having a conversation on the sidewalk. The best part, of course, is the music. For the movie, they played down Prince's popularity to being a small-town local musician. This way, Prince is a more relatable character. It reminds me of Rocky being a small-town boxer going up for the championship. The fact that Prince is a small-town musician is laughable by today's standards, since the music has aged so well. Like, really, no one noticed the talent that is dripping off of this guy. You also get to see the Revolution backstage with Prince, forming the demos for some of the songs. Of course it's fictional, but you're still seeing Prince and the Revolution. The climax pushes the movie a whole level up, because the events Prince has to go through leading up to the concert has very high tensions. I mean, the club owner tells him, one last show and you're done. His father dies, and he hits his girlfriend within a few days of each other. It makes the title track, Purple Rain, more impactful when he goes up on stage. The camera just stays still on Prince for a long time as he sings the opening words of Purple Rain. The movie takes a deep breath and unleashes a bombardment of some of the best music you'll ever hear from the 80s. So what do I think? It's a fun ride. You can laugh at the outdated parts, laugh at the parts that work, and sing along to the concert scenes. But you can't say there is a dull moment in this movie. It's a roller coaster ride that never stops. Highly recommended.